Oh, I didn't see you there. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Why are you watching me sleeping? You fucking creeper. So anyway, this is Belial TCG. We are doing a Challenger Deck 2020 unboxing today. I always sleep with my gloves on because smells like a fucking corpse. Smells like fucking shit in here. What the hell? Oh whoa. Oh shit. This is disgusting.
Disgusting!
Oh, it's the Golgari. They're always a bit smelly, but she's looking pretty proud of herself. She's looking pretty glad. Let's go. So, as you've seen in my pretty unfunny intro, we're doing this. Third deck. We're doing the Final Adventure Challenger deck today with Vraska glaring at us. This is a black-green Golgari mid-range deck focused around playing adventures. And it also says, keep your opponent's board clear while sending your creatures on bountiful adventures. Then bring them home to... Keep your opponent's board clear while sending your creatures on bountiful adventures. Try to focus the camera and then bring them home to deliver the final blow. Thank you. So let's open this up. This is actually pretty hard to close. Okay, so I'm not gonna go over the deck list because I want us both to find out at the same time, and also I kind of made sure that I use my unique ability to forget things pretty quickly as a good thing here, because I'm actually kind of excited for what's in here. Like, I think from the Golgari deck, it's probably the most things I've memorized. I know, well, I just saw the human token, so Lovestruck Beast is in here. There is Vraska in here, there is the Murderous Rider in here, and there's the Edgewall Innkeeper, which we saw in the package. But there's a lot of adventure stuff going on, and I'm pretty excited for this. So, we have the very much too bright Blacklance Paragon. This is a flash creature, and when he enters the battlefield you can give another target knight Death Touch and lifelink and focus. So I mainly use this on the Knight of the Ebon Legion or on the Fervent Champion, which is not in this deck. I played a Rakdos Knights deck, and when you play this on the Fervent Champion, he has First Strike. So it doesn't matter how strong he is, he's always going to kill the creature, which is pretty dope. It also works in here because you have the Knight of the Ebon Legion and you have a few other knights, but it certainly works best on a knight with Death Touch. We have the aforementioned Knight of the Ebon Legion. He is a pretty dope card because he's a 1-drop, he's a 1/2 creature, and for 3 mana you can pump him up to +3/+3, and he does gain Death Touch. And the best thing about this, if a player lost 4 or more life this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Knight of the Ebon Legion, so he grows. Okay, you see where I'm getting at? You pump this guy, he goes through because they don't want to waste their creature, okay, because of his Death Touch when he's pumped, and he's growing. As soon as he starts growing, he becomes a problem, a big problem too. So that's the Knight of the Ebon Legion, and you actually do get a playset of him. So you can do some crazy shenanigans. No, you just get him 2 times. I was talking bullshit, I'm sorry. Here we have the Lovestruck Beast. And this is a clear reference to the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale.
Say something to her. Shall we shag now?
Because he creates a 1/1 human creature token and he can attack unless you control a 1/1 human creature token. So this is a very classical tempo card. Tempo, of course, is a deck form where you protect your good creatures against attacks of the enemy. The fact that he can only attack unless you control a 1/1 creature kind of puts the whole Tempo thing upside down, because you need to protect the 1/1 creature and him, so that's kind of a vibe, but he can still block. So you get a 5/5 blocker for 3. You can then still figure out some ways to get your human token back on the field. We have the Midnight Reaper, which is a pretty dope card. He also works well in several sacrifice decks. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Midnight Reaper deals 1 damage to you and you then draw a card. So a pretty dope value there, classical black. And this is probably, I think, the strongest card in here, in my opinion at least. This is the Murderous Rider. He both serves as an adventure card, which is basically murder. He's a lifelink zombie knight. And when he dies, you can just put him at the bottom of your library. And the second you start shuffling your deck again because you searched for something, he's in there. Like, he's back. Here we have a double card. We have Find and Finality. Find is return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. And Finality is you may put 2 1/1 counters on target creature you control, then all creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. So it's kind of a situational card, but it does help that it's a double card, so you won't run into many situations where this is just shit, but I wouldn't necessarily main deck this. So up next we have Vraska, the Golgari Queen. She's a legendary planeswalker who starts at 4/4/4, and her plus ability is a +2 actually, which I really like. So her plus is you may sacrifice another permanent. If you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card. So you straight away have some synergy with the Reaper. Her minus is destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. And her ultimate is you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. I don't think there's creatures in this deck who can make themselves unblockable, but there is a flyer in this deck, so he would be a good target for that ultimate. What I really like about this card is the fact that it's not a 5-drop, it's a 4-drop, so it can impact the game a lot earlier. What would be the worst would be to play her, use her minus, leaving her at 1, and then the next turn she gets removed by an attack of the enemy. That would make her a pretty expensive removal spell. But if you don't have any other option, that is viable. The much better thing, and what I really like about this card, is her +2, which gets her to 6. You then can use the 3, and you're left at 3 loyalty, which is much easier to defend against, okay? Still, there are situations where you have to use the minus right away, and if you do, you just have 1 more removal spell in your arsenal, which can also be something else. Here we have Castle Locthwain. It's a pretty dope card who saved my ass a bunch of times. If you control a swamp, it enters the battlefield untapped, and then it's just a regular swarm. And as a secondary ability, for 2 black mana and 1 colorless, you can actually draw a card, and you then lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. So this is best played when you are top decking anyways, so you don't have as many hand cards. It can help when looking for some combo pieces, but you don't necessarily need it that way. This is more of a please save my ass kind of card. So we have the Passage again. This is probably the prettiest card in my opinion from an artwork point of view. This was drawn by Howard Lyon, and I really want to thank Mr. Leon, I don't know, for this amazing, really amazing artwork. just looks really dope. And it's an expensive card, so I like that too. We have 2 Scrylands, 2 Golgari Scrylands. We have the Edgewall Innkeeper. You actually get a playset of these. Here's your main draw engine. It says whenever you cast a creature spell that has an adventure, draw a card. And you have a lot of these, so there's going to be a lot of card draw. Speaking of adventure cards, we have the Foulmire Knight. He has Profane Insight, which is you draw a card and lose 1 life. And if you play him as a creature, he's a 1/1 Death Touch for 1.
We have one of these old demons.
I like this. I don't like this as much, but you don't have to use it. So up next we have the aforementioned flyer. We have Order of Midnight. Order of Midnight can return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. He can't block, which is okay because you kind of need some aggro cards, and a 2/2 flyer is probably not the worst aggro card. Up next we have a playset of the Smitten Swordmaster. And you gain X life and each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of knights you control. There is some knights in here. There's a good amount of knights in here, so this could be pretty dope. And he also is a lifelink creature, so he does give you a bit more breathing space, and you get a playset of these, which is pretty cool because it's a cheap adventure card, so it does enable the Innkeeper a bit better. This guy. We have 2 copies of one of my favorite black spell of all time. We have Disfigure. Disfigure is a way more flexible, a way more versatile version of Shock, because Shock lets you kill a creature with toughness 2 or less for 1. This guy can do the same and even help you kill them in combat, because you can actually save your own monsters, okay, because of the attack debuff. So a 6/6 attacks, and you can actually fuck up these 6/6 with your 5 attack points creature without it actually dying, because the 6/6 becomes a 4/4. So pretty dope. Again, shows why black is so much better than red. So there we go with the Lucky Clover. Whenever you cast an adventure, instant or sorcery spell, copy it, you may choose new targets for the copy. This together with the Innkeeper just generates a ton of value. I love this engine when it goes off. If it doesn't go off, you're okay in this deck, but if you really want to win, this is what you need. This is kind of like your win condition. So we have life gain lands, we have 3 of those. We have pretty Eldraine forests and swamps. We have the Vraska emblem, which looks pretty dope. And it's just a bunch of human tokens. Okay. So let's go for the side deck. Here we have SNEK-GIRL. So this card is kind of confusing at first. She has Menace, but that doesn't matter right now. What matters is that she enters the battlefield, and each other creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than SNEK-GIRL gets -1/-1 until end of turn. This sounds complicated, but it just means that you have, for example, you have a human token on the field, okay? You play SNEK-GIRL. The human token dies because of her effect, and because of a creature dying, the effect actually takes off another time. If another creature would die, it would do so until no other creature would die this turn. If you want to remove a 4/4, you just have to make sure that there is a 1 toughness creature, a 2 toughness creature, and a 3 toughness creature on the field, and you're good to go. This is pretty good for mass removal. You also get to keep a creature, because she only does the damage to other creatures. So the board is wiped, and you have a 4/4 with Menace out on the field, which is pretty dope. We have a Theros card. This is kind of a theme of the Theros cards being in the side deck. Kind of interesting, kind of odd. And the very much unfocused Cling to Dust says exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, you gain 3 life, otherwise you draw a card. And it has Escape for 4 mana and exile 5. This is kind of like an anti-escape card if you exile a card from your opponent's graveyard. I don't know why you would exile your own card. Maybe if you need like life gain. We have duress, which is one of the things that made me fall in love with the game and with Black. You are powerful with this card, but not in the way of having an 8/8 creature on the board and just dominating. You are powerful because you get information, okay? The discard effect is pretty dope too, but you get information, and that is one of the key aspects of this game and winning the game. Also, I may or may not have to make a picture of my opponent's hand when I play this card, because I really can't remember his hand most of the time, but I can still act like a tactical mastermind. We have the Growl Harpooner. This is a 3/2 reach creature with Undergrowth. Undergrowth basically just means when he enters the battlefield, you yeah, he gets plus for the number of creature cards in your graveyard, and you can have him fight a flyer when he enters the battlefield. This is one of the blackest cards there is, not because of the coloring, but because of the flavor behind it. For 2 mana, you can destroy a creature or planeswalker that's green or white. So exactly the colors that Black hates. And you get a life. Fuck yeah. And for the last thing in this deck, we have a little dinosaur. We have a little artifact-hating dinosaur. It's a dope card. If you're playing against an enchantment deck, I think the Celestia enchantment deck with Siona in it is pretty popular right now. If you play against an enchantment deck or artifacts, this is an okay removal spell. If it's not a removal spell, it's an okay creature too. So you can't go too wrong with this, but this is not like game changing. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. I am shuffling cards. I'm a fuckhead. Like, subscribe, or hate and ignore. It's a free world. It's your life. You can do whatever you want. So I kind of forgot to film an outro to this, so I'm just gonna do it in my garden. Why the fuck not? I really want to thank Carsten from Croco Games. He has sponsored this video. You can find his website at crocogames.com or de. I don't know, I'm going to link it in the description anyway. You can find any kind of magic cards, sleeves, accessories from him. I am sleeving the Challenger decks in the Ultra Pro matte sleeves, which you can also buy from him at pretty cheap price. He's good stuff, he's a really friendly guy, support him, you should really check him out. Thanks a lot for watching, thank you Carsten, and visit Croco Games.